DaVinci Resolve for iPad has a new update. We have now the big version 21 also available here on the iPad. If you come here to the App Store and when you come here to the DaVinci Resolve iPad update page and you click here on what's new, you will always see the version history. And with every update, when you click on this one and then here more, you can see what was in this update. And we got DaVinci Resolve 21 with a big list. In this video today, we will go through all of the new features. I will show you every single one of them. And let's start with the first one. We got an entire new page, a page dedicated to edit photos, the photo page. And in the photo page, you can basically think about like Lightroom, that you can edit and color grade your photos straight in DaVinci Resolve. You don't have to open another app anymore. And how this works is if you come here to DaVinci Resolve, and in any case, if you don't have the pages open, the easiest way how you can open the photo page is if you come up here to the menu and here on the workspace, you will find here show pages. And we see now the 3 officially launched pages. And I think that they also launched the photo page as an officially launched page because it's visible here. So you can select this one and boom, you have the photo page. I still have that issue when I come too close to this white line when I use my mouse here. By the way, if you don't see this menu here on the top, come into the settings of your iPad and you have to come here to multitasking and gestures, and you have to make sure that you're on the Windows app. All the menu bars in every app only show when you're here on Windows app. If you're on full screen and you go back to your app and you try to like swipe, nothing happens. So you have to make sure you are in the Windows app and of course on iPad OS 26. I already made a video just dedicated about the photo page. This is the video from 2 or 3 days ago. In that video, I also show you another way how you can open the photo page with shortcuts. And for example, DaVinci Resolve on the iPad has access to all pages, all 8. It's not 7 anymore because of the photo page. We have all 8. And I gave shortcuts to all the other pages here as well. We have the cut page, we have the edit page, we have the fusion page, we have the fairlight page, we have the deliver page. As you can see here, I can open all of them. If you want to know how to open them, then I will just say, look at the other video where I also explain a little bit more about the photo page, but just in short here in this video. When I'm here on the photo page, I have these 3 windows. Here on the top, I can toggle on off my gallery, which is basically my media bin. So I can go here to my masters. I have here already prepared a couple of photos. I also have my first photo album here already. You see that here, it's in this photo thing. If I double click on this, the photo album will open up, but I could also create a new photo album. For example, if I select these images here, right click, create new photo album using selected clips. Or if I, for example, come in my edit page and I come back here into my timeline, I can double click my timeline, or here on the top, you can always switch between timeline or your photo albums. And if you haven't created a photo album yet, and you come to the photo page, it will look like this. It's empty. So if I come here to my photos and I select my photos, like these ones, for example, I can drag and drop them here into the album. And like in Lightroom, I can now even use the arrow keys here in between and see all of my images. And then I don't need the gallery anymore. I can close the gallery and go here through my images. And I will not explain all of this right now, but all that you see here on the bottom left are filter methods. I can give stars. I can like something, like with these icons. I can not like something. I can make flags, colors, all of this, and even with keywords. All of this I explained already in the other video, but basically you can go through your album, make selections, and then here on the top you find the inspector. And if you are on the photo page, the inspector also has this tab here, which is photo edits, where you have, like, for example, all of the different waveforms, the scopes that you can know from the color page that you can use, and then you have a couple of more sliders and settings, kind of like in Lightroom. This is how you have to think about it. This whole page will make photo editing easier, same like in Lightroom. You can select a couple of photos at the same time. You can then even export them. There's an easy export. So if you're in the photo page, you have a quick export just for photo, where you can JPEG, PNG, HIC, TIFF files, and so on. You can all save that here. So and how is it now when you're going into the edit or cut page? So if I come in the edit page, so if I'm in a photo album, I see all the clips in the photos here, but I can't do anything with them because I have a gray timeline. Because this is not really a timeline to work. This is just for your photos, a photo album. And I can switch always back here on the top to my timeline. So here I have all timelines, here I have all photo albums. Now I have already 2 albums created. If I click on this one, I'm back in my timeline. And the cool thing is, if you come to your photo album and any photo you select, so for example, if I select this picture here, I can change my colors and everything here with these sliders. But I also can simply just open the color page, and everything, all the sliders is representing the same tools that you have here. And not just that, I can even start creating notes, and you can color grade everything like you used to know from videos. You can now apply even on photos, and it works. If you're more familiar with the color page, you can skip these sliders and just select your photo and straight go to the color page, do your color correction on your photos straight here in the color page. And if we go back here to the App Store and we look at what did the photo page add. New photo page, new photo image editing now fully integrated with DaVinci Resolve. That is the photo page. Then image library with tagging, favorites, rating, and album collection. This is the favorite things that I already said. Then album lets you build, manage, and tweak photos at source resolution. So the biggest reason why they added the photo page in the first place is the problem is you could always edit photos already in DaVinci Resolve if you drag and drop a photo in your timeline. If I go to a timeline and I will actually drag and drop a photo in here. So I have this photo now in here as well. I can edit this photo with the color page. This was already possible, but the problem was how to export it. It wasn't as easy and straightforward. And you were limited by the resolution of your timeline. So let's say you shoot in 20 megapixels a photo and your timeline is just a 2K or 4K timeline. You're already losing pixel resolution just because you drag and dropped the photo into this timeline. With the new photo page, that doesn't happen anymore because I can let's come back into my album, photo album 1. If I'm here and I open now an image here in my album, it will always use the original quality, the original resolution of my photo. This is what it means. And this is also the main reason why they added the photo page, that you can edit your photos before any timeline resolutions or whatever is applied. So you can edit the photos as they come. So native Canon, Fujifilm, Nikon, Panasonic, and Sony RAW formats supported. To be fair, I haven't tested that yet. I will stop the video right now, make a photo with my Canon as a RAW and see if I can drag and drop that into my DaVinci Resolve. If you have a Fujifilm or Nikon or Panasonic or Sony, please test this with your iPad if all of this also works on the iPad or if this only works still on the desktop right now. I created a new folder just for the RAW photos that I did, and I already stumbled into problems. First, I thought we cannot load RAW photos, but I found a way how RAW photos can work. So if I come here and right click and I say import media from a file, and I go to my RAW folder, this is now my Canon RAW, my SD card from my Canon is sitting here in my USB dongle, not on my iPad, it's connected to it. And if I click here on, let's say here, a RAW file, just nothing happens. Then I tried the following. I went into my Photos app and I imported all of these 4 files that I took. And if I click this, you see JPEG plus RAW. And the way you do this, if you have a dongle like this and you put your SD card in the Photos app, you will see now here a new button, import. If you come on this one, you can now select the photos that you haven't imported yet. For example, I haven't imported these videos yet. I could just simply select them and then say import, and it will land into your photos library. So I already have them in. These are the 4. But the problem here is, if I now come back to DaVinci and for example, say here, import from photos, and I just select these 4 photos, I only get the JPEG file and not the RAW file. And here in DaVinci, I cannot work with the RAW file. So I thought, oh, maybe we can't really work with the RAW file. But you have to do the following. When you are here in the folder, right click, don't use this, don't use this, use import media. So when I come to import media, I come back to my Files app. It's up to you. You can do it straight from the SD card, or you can copy first the RAW documents onto your iPad somewhere in your files. So for example, I have them here in my downloads. So I could select them here. These are the 4 RAW files, and I can open them. And now the RAW files are in here as well. Or what you can do, if you don't want to work with the files inside, I can also use my dongle and work straight from the SD card. So I can right click, say import media, and now navigate here to my SD card. And here under my SD card, this is my Canon. Here are the photos. So, and I'm selecting now this one, this one, this one, these 4. I don't need the JPEG ones. So I import them. So now we are working from the photos straight from the SD card. And what I will do is I will create a new folder for that. I select all of this, right click and say create new album. And we call that RAW album. As you can see, I can now go into these images and start editing these images. So on my iPad, here on the iPad 11-inch M1, I can import my RAW files. Now I will test this if this also works on the iPad Mini 7. I'm back here to my iPad Mini. Same thing again. I haven't tested this yet. I just created a folder RAW, and now I will click this one and I come here to import media. I will go straight to the SD card that I connected and I will select my RAW files, which I can't see. Let's change this here to list view. I still can't see it. The bigger file size. So 18 gigabytes, 18 megabytes, 18. The bigger ones are the RAW files. Now open them. Yes, I can open them. I can select everything here in my Apple Pencil, longer press, create new album, call that one RAW. And now we have the album RAW and I can edit the photos even here on my iPad mini 7. If I come to the files, to my photos again, can I change that here? View options, show all file name extensions. Now I see it. And does this also change it for DaVinci Resolve? So if we take all of this and garbage bin, delete, do the same thing, import media. Yes, we see now the endings. So if you want to see the endings, you can change them in the file system as you just saw. This is also a workaround. So in the last part here from the photo page is this one. Use all Resolve native color controls, AI toolsets, looks, LUTs, and effects in your image. This is basically what I already showed you, that you can open the color page and everything you can do in the color page. So even load LUTs and work with nodes and all the color tools from the color page you can use to edit your photos as well. So next point is all of the new AI tools that we got. Let's start with the first one here. AI IntelliSearch lets you easily search the people and or objects. And at the same time, when we come down here, AI SlateFinder and AI SlateID to read slates and populate clip metadata and automatically detect slates and markup position. In order to use IntelliSearch and also the Slate search and all of this, the first thing you have to do is you have to come up here to DaVinci Resolve in the menu, and then come here to the Extras Download Manager. The Extras Download Manager is a feature that they introduced in one of the older versions because DaVinci Resolve is getting bigger and bigger because of the AI tools. But you don't need all of the AI tools. So in the Extras Download Manager, you have a couple of extra AI features that you can download if you want them. So for example, if you never work with the IntelliSearch, it's like 1 GB extra, then you don't have to download that. Or for example, we have the AI Slate, which is actually 5 GB. I never really work with that. So I will, after this video, I will just delete that and save 5 GB because I don't need that. Then one of the new features now with DaVinci Resolve 21 is the AI speech generator. I will show you this later. And that's also, you have to first download that. This was already in extended AI transcription language support. So if you don't speak English and your YouTube videos is about in a different language, like my other channel, German, for example, or French or Spanish, then you can download the extended AI transcription language support that will help you with other languages as well. In the Extras Download Manager, you have to now make sure that you download the IntelliSearch faster. And I show you now something that's the difference to the desktop and the iPad version. And by the way, in my Extras Download Manager here for my iPad M1 and also for my iPad mini 7, it's the same. So I have these 4 that I can download. IntelliSearch faster, SlateID, speech generator, and extended transcription language support. If I go to my Mac, the list looks like this. I can download IntelliSearch Better, which is another version, which takes way longer to analyze. I think this is the main reason why they didn't put it into the iPad, because now the faster is already taking long. If you play around with this now, you will see. And I think the better one, it just takes way more time. It needs way more resources. And by the way, when I did the analyze here with my M1 iPad, I was at like 40% and I went down to almost 15% just through the analyzing process. Also be aware, my iPad now is almost 4 or 5 years old, so it's getting old. It's time to upgrade. Probably with the next iPad I will upgrade, just because the battery is now getting old and everything. So maybe the heating problem is not 100% related to this feature, but I could see that it was draining my battery a lot. So the better version that you can have on the Mac is basically the same feature, but it can recognize more objects, but it also takes more time. And you see here also it's like 4 times the size. And then the other one that is not inside of the iPad version is here AI voice training. I'm curious, if you have a newer iPad with M4 or M5 and maybe even the 16 GB version. So if you have a 1 TB or 2 TB iPad, then you have the 16 GB version. I wonder if this is maybe accessible in the newer versions. I think it's not. I think at this stage just limited and it's not possible on the iPad for whatever reason. And for that, we go now into the edit page. So definitely have to open the edit page. And what we can do is, actually it works in the cut page too for just analyzing. But what we can do is I can, for example, select my clips here. I see this new icon here on the top. I can right click on this and then, for example, say here, perform AI analysis only with the selected clips. So the clips that I just selected. So I could also just select like 3 clips or something and not all of them. Or you can say perform AI analysis for all of the clips. By the way, if we come here to the cut page and we come here to the videos folder and I select some folders here, I don't have this option here on the top, but I can right click here and I can come here to AI tools. And then I find here IntelliSearch and I can also analyze for search and I can click this one. Let me just double check with another test. Upgrade, yes. If I select this clip here, let's go to the cut page because on the other project I already did it. So it's right click, AI tools, AI transcription, and here IntelliSearch, analyze for search. It will just immediately analyze for search for the IntelliSearch. I don't want that now because I show you the better way. Come to the edit page because when we use this icon here, So I can make a selection, or I can use it for all clips. I will now do it here just for all clips because I don't have many clips in my project. But if you work with a big project, only select the clips that you actually want to analyze, because the analyzing process takes some time, even here on the iPad. So I click on this one, and now you get this new window here. And there are 4 different ways you can analyze now. The first one is the analyze for IntelliSearch. IntelliSearch is the new feature where you can now search. If you have footage, let's say for example here I have a woman, I can search for the woman, or I have a car here in this shot, I can search for the car. So it will recognize the visual clues of every little frame. And I can even identify faces if I want. The second one is analyze for slate. So what is a slate? Because we have here SlateFinder and SlateID. A slate is the following. If you make a proper movie and you use a slate, that's the slate, and you write down what is it, what role, what scene, what take, and you put this into every movie, and you have like a big movie with lots of slates. Now you can use an AI that detects all of these slates. So it goes through all of the footage. And by the way, that takes a lot of time. So if you don't work with slates, so what you will do here, especially now if you're a YouTuber like me and you don't work with slates, turn this one off. You don't need that. But if you use it, that's one of the new features. You can use the slate analyzer, and then it will look for these slates in your footage, and it will look for what you marked on your slate. So for example, here scene 35A, take 1. Why? I show you something. Let's say I would have used a slate here in that clip, right? If I come to this clip and I open the inspector here and I come here to the metadata, in the metadata, I can take, shot, scene. These are empty. And usually what you do in the past, you would manually go now through your footage and type in, this is scene 5, this is this, this is this, this is this. If you work on a big project, this will help you later a lot. If you're just a YouTuber like me and you just make content with a couple of videos, you don't really need that. But if you have bigger projects and you use a slate, if you use now this slate feature, so let's come back in here. Analyze. If you use this analyze slate feature, it also adds all the text that he finds. So if he finds a slate on a clip, and that slate has, for example, here scene 35A, take 1, it will automatically put it into the metadata of your clips. Be aware, it's like 90 to 95% accurate. Not all of them are working well. It also depends on your handwriting. The AI is not making a good job of handwriting. So if your handwriting is not good, it might not really recognize your handwriting. But you can see it as this. It's speeding up your process if you have clips with a slate. So in our case, we don't have a slate. We don't need that. If you use a lot of transcription, so transcription was already in. It's very powerful for podcasts, for example. So if you look here on my YouTube channel, you will find a couple of videos about transcribe audio and even speaker detection. So if you have podcasts, in this clip, I don't really have speakers, so I can just turn that one off. And then the same if you use many sound effects, and this is a sound effect like with whoosh or a car door or whatever, and you use these and they are not classified yet, then you can also use the AI to audio classification, then it will put them into different categories. We don't need that. So we now analyze only for IntelliSearch. Because I even don't have faces, I will turn identify faces off as well. If you have lots of faces and you want to identify the faces, then you keep that one on. And then you say analyze. I already analyzed all of this because I was playing around and testing if it actually works on the iPad. So the good news, it works. It takes a lot of time. To be fair, on a project like this, I would never use it because that's a very small project. But the cool thing now is what you can do is when you come up now here to search, you will have a couple of more options. So it's the normal search, but you can search for all, search visual only, or your transcripts or your metadata. And for example, if I now type in here car, it finds automatically the clips where I have a car inside. Or if I, for example, type in woman, there's a clip where it recognizes a woman. And also very important, this is a good example, something in the newest iPad 26 version. When this comes up, I have no idea how to close it. Now I closed it. Last time it stayed open and I did not know what to do. I had to close DaVinci and open it again, but now it worked. Okay, when I now come here to master, and the first time I tried this and I typed in car, it didn't come up. Even if here search in all bins was selected, I had to just first select bins and then go back to all bins, and then it suddenly worked on my iPad. So if that doesn't work with all bins for you, just try to reselect that here and then it works. And I noticed the following. When we come to the cut page, so if I come here to the videos, for example, and I search now for car, it even recognizes that in here. And you will notice that all of the clips that have now this little tag here for IntelliSearch. So if I deselect this here and you see here, we have this little icon. That's the icon for, these clips are now added to the IntelliSearch. And then we have a second part. We have full clips. So it will show us the full clip. Or if you have longer clips, where there's only segments from the object that you're looking for, like a dog, a woman, or a car, you can also change this here to segments, and then it will also just show you the segment of these clips. And maybe I have a couple of these clips. Here in my example, it's only one, but imagine I would have now here 10 different clips, and now I see all the car clips. Here's a new feature next to it. I can create a smart bin from my selection. A smart bin in DaVinci Resolve was already there. A smart bin is basically a filter. You can filter through your stuff. Before I now show you this, is when you come to this here in the edit page, this can be open all the time. Here are the smart bins. And when you click these smart bins and make this here bigger, you have different ways of smart bins you can create. I can, for example, go by keywords and then, for example, say like, yeah, here are the 2 flags or screenshots. I can add key flags and keywords and everything. And I can create my own smart bin. So if I click on this one, then this window opens up and I can add all kinds of different filters. I can filter all of my footage for drone shots. I can filter through slow motion shots. I can, like, whatever you can imagine, you can create your own sorting. It's a filter, and then add them here to the smart bins. If you don't see that here on the left side, number one, you have to make sure that this here is activated. And then here under the 3 dots, you find here show smart bin. If this is off, you have to first activate it. I will not go over smart bins because there is a video on my YouTube channel and even in my DaVinci Resolve iPad masterclass where I go deeper into smart bins and I explain you everything what you can do. But the cool thing now is if we come back here to the search and I search, for example, now for car, and imagine I would have now a couple of clips, I can now, this search by IntelliSearch, I can add this to a smart bin and it will automatically put all of these references in, and I just have to say create, and now I have here the smart bin. I just tested that on my MacBook, and on my MacBook it works straight away. It could be that it's just my test project here that for whatever reason the car doesn't show up there. I tested this with my last YouTube video and it recognized me as man. I searched for man and now I have a smart bin and it works. Maybe give this a try if this works. The idea is, and maybe this comes in a new update, so you can create it, it works. It also recognizes, like, for example, if I segments all bins, and let's add this one here, and let's call this one woman, create, and it doesn't show up. If I compare this with my Mac, it's the exact same smart bin structure, except woman I typed in man, and in my MacBook it shows me me as a person. Here on my iPad it doesn't really show. Let's see what happens if I restart DaVinci Resolve, because the smart bins stay when you create them once, they stay in your place. Let's go for woman, doesn't like it. What if we change it here from selected bins to all bins? Now it shows the woman. When I change, it's not there again. So if I come in here and I just edit it for a second and just hit OK, it shows up. If I shift around, it's gone. Obviously, the edit page is not officially launched yet. Maybe this is a feature we can get in the future. The next AI feature that we got is AI speech generator transforms written text to spoken words. How this one works, if we come to DaVinci Resolve, and it doesn't matter if you're now in the cut page or in the edit page, both work. You have to come up here to the menu. I place my playhead now somewhere here. Like, for example, I already did it here, but let's say I place it here. I wanted the AI voices coming here. So I come here to timeline, and then I come here to AI tools, and I select speech generator. This will open this new window here, and I can type in my text. So for example, I don't want writing tools. This is a test voice that I want to see. And then I can select, because we already installed the voice generator, the base model in those AI extras download manager, we have 2 male voices and 2 female voices. So let's create female voice 1, and then I can even change the speed, the variation, the pitch. And then if I'm happy with this one, I can just say generate, and I will analyze and generate that one. So if we're done, so it added a new track here in my timeline. This is now the clip, and if I now hit play,
this is a test voice that I want to see.
That is the female voice. And I also created a male voice here.
This is a test speech for my first auto voice.
And the cool part about this feature is if you actually use it on the desktop, because if we come back here to the extras download manager, you see we got the AI speech generator, but you also have a voice training model on the desktop. And to make this work, it works the following. You have to come up again here to timeline, AI tools, speech generator, and instead of choosing one of these 4, you can also say here custom voice. And I was testing this, and what I did, first I just recorded an audio file with my voice map app here on my iPhone, and I send it here to my iPad. and that comes in the M4A file. But then my iPad crashed, obviously because I didn't install the AI pack for voice generation. But then I thought like maybe it's something has to do with this file. So I took this file, I put it into my Mac, and then I realized even my Mac with DaVinci Resolve couldn't handle the M4A file. So I converted the M4A file to MP3 because I thought maybe MP3 works. But then I realized on my desktop even the MP3 doesn't work. The only file that actually works to generate a voice with your own voice is if you use a WAV file. So I will show you now how this looks on my Mac. If I do this, I created with this WAV file, I created a voice here in DaVinci, and if I hit play,
to see if he can speak using my own voice.
Which is crazy. It really sounds like me. Then I had the idea, what if I bring in the WAV file and just double check what happens in DaVinci Resolve on my iPad. If I come back here to timeline, AI tools, speech generator. This is another test to see if this works. And I selected here custom voice, and now I could load even the WAV file. But if you now hit generate, DaVinci will just crash. And I think this is because we don't have the package for the voice training that only is on the desktop, as you see. But you can use the AI voice to generate voices using this one here, timeline, AI tools, speech generator. You can write it down and you can use these.
Hey guys, DaVinci Resolve has a new feature. Now you can change your age inside of DaVinci Resolve. You can make yourself very old.
Or you can make yourself very, very young. All in just one feature. So next feature, AI Face Age Transformer lets you age or de-age a face. I already prepared one clip that I have here that I rendered out, so you can make yourself older like you saw in the intro, and then you have like these results. It looks amazing. I will show you this now with this clip here that I prepared. And what you have to do is you have to come to the color page. We create a new node here with this icon here, a serial node, and then we select this node and we open here the effects and you search for face. And then we have here Face Age Transformer. We just drag and drop this here to this new node. And the first step you have to do is you have to detect your face in the frame. If you click this one, it will give you this box and we have to analyze, so with forward and backward movements, all of the shots, the movement of my face. And if you don't want to see the box anymore, you can just here show overlay on or off, then the overlay is gone. So if I'm done here, I have the following options. I can swipe down here and now I can change the age of the subject. I would be happy if I'm just 30, but 30 is when I started my business. Now I'm 39 and I will turn 40 this year. So I go to subject is 39. Let's type this in, it's easier, 39. And then with the offset slider, you can either make yourself younger or older. So for example, if I go here and I go around like, let's do myself 40 years older, it takes some time. So with the face age transform, what I realized is it does it. So if we come back, for example, here to the edit page and we look at the shot now, we can see, wow, now I'm looking very, very old. But if I want to play this back, my iPad with M1 doesn't really work to play this one back. So what I would recommend is if you want to work with this, just highlight this part that you want to render. So for example, here, in point, and out point, and then export the video where you're old, just here with exporting it and rendering a video. And then you can just import. So I did this here with the other video already. So import my media, and then I go here. This is the video where I already made myself old. And then I can drag and drop this video in here to the timeline and then just work with the video that I did so I can see it at least here on my iPad. If you're fine with this, you think the settings are amazing, then you can just, of course, leave it in. But I would be curious to know if you have an iPad M4 or M5, let me know in the comments if this feature now actually works, that you can preview it. And if you want to make yourself younger, select the clip, come back here to the color page, and in the settings, we just make the offset to the opposite. So let's go, I'm 39, so let's make ourselves minus 30 and see what happens. Okay, if you do the sliders too much to the younger side, it just almost feels like too unnatural, to be fair. And the same problem if I hit play, my iPad M1 can't render this in real time. So my trick for you is to always render that part out, get the video in, and then work with the video, and only have a separate timeline where you work with the aging. And then let's go back here to the settings. Maybe let's do just 20 years and see how this one looks. Still, to be fair, I think the aging looks better than making myself younger. Did you know that you can use the Face Reshaper to create a different kind of face with DaVinci Resolve for the iPad? Here, next feature, AI Face Reshaper for flexible reshapes and resizing of facial features. I already prepared a clip here. This is the first one. I have this clip where I completely changed my face. And the way how you can add this here, I have the same clip. I select the clip and I come here to the color page. And in the color page, I add a new node. And then when you have a new node, you search here for face under the effects, here effects, face, and then you find here Face Reshaper. You just simply drag and drop this onto your node, and then you will get here this menu here. So you go all the way up. The first thing you have to do is detect the face in the frame. Then it will detect the face. Then I track and back and forward the whole movement of the clip. It depends on how long it is. I would recommend you chop up only the part that you actually want to use to reshape everything, then it's easier. So now I reshaped everything. It gets all the points. We don't want them, so we can show overlay on and off. Then here are a couple of features that we can change inside of that thing. The first one is face location that you can change for manual adjustment, but we now go here directly to the face shapes. I can change the size of my face, can make it small, or I can make it big. I can go with the width. I can even increase the length of my face. I can change the cheek position. I can change the chin, the jaw, even the forehead. Then we have another tab here for eyes, and in the eyes I can make the eyes smaller, bigger, the height of the eyes, can change all of this separation. The cool thing about all of this, we also have keyframes, so you could even animate all of this later in the movie if you want. We have positions here for my eyes, the angle that I can change if you see here, and then the A back and a lot. We also have a tab just for the nose, so I can change even the nose size, the width of the nose, make it smaller, make the height and change that one. And then we also have the mouth that I can change with the size. And then, for example, position, I can bring it more down, the width, and a smile down. Or nice. Is that not nice what I'm creating right now? So what I recognize with this feature, you don't even have to, on my M1 iPad, I don't even have to render it. So this AI feature actually works in real time. And a way that you can work with these kind of clips is that you can, for example, just highlight that part here with the in point, it's this one here, and the out point. And then if this part is laggy and you can't replay it because you have an older iPad, you can just render out this part here and then render it out, create a video out of this one, and then just add the video. I, for example, have this video here already created, and then I drag and drop this into my timeline. Now this one is already baked in because I rendered the video, and now I can use this clip in my timeline, so I can always preview it in my timeline. If you have a little pimples or something in your skin and you want to just get rid of it, you don't have to manually do it anymore. We have an AI now in DaVinci Resolve. It's a studio version feature, and it even works on the iPad. I will show you this here in this video. We are talking now about here AI blemish removal to repair facial and skin blemishes. So I have a clip here of myself where I actually have something in this morning. So it's this thing here. Let's see if we can remove this. You have two options. I show you the easy way how I will do it. I will do it actually in the color page. So I have my clip where I want to remove it. I add a new node here, serial one, and then I come here into the effects and I search for blemish tool, blemish removal, and I just drag and drop that on. And this one is a straightforward tool. This is basically just, you can change 0, which means it doesn't do anything. And by the way, if you have a smaller iPad like myself, I have the 11-inch iPad, or maybe you're even using the iPad mini, sometimes you don't see enough here, right? We can zoom in, of course, with our 2 fingers to see here the pimple. But what you also can do is, if you have a keyboard, you can use the shortcut Shift F to make the image here and the color page big and only see the effects here. So especially if you have effects that have lots of sliders, this is a good way. And if you hit Shift F again, you're coming back and you see all of your color tools. So for this one now, I make it big so I can see it. And if I increase this all the way here up, so one is basically the AI is doing most of the processing. And now I see, oh, my pimple is actually gone. It's that simple. You don't need to mask anything anymore. That works straight here on the iPad as well. Oh, and another way how you can add these effects, like for example, the face refinement effect or even that blemish effect. I just deleted the effect, the node. What you can do is I can select my clip here, come up to the effects and search here for blemish. And I can also just drag and drop that to my clip where I want to apply this. And instead of going to the color page, I can open the inspector, and here on the effects, you will see the exact same. It works both ways. You can either do this on the color page or you can add it as an effect to the clip. And because it's a heavy processing AI feature, same like with some of the other ones that we got now with DaVinci Resolve 21, same thing I will say again, a way how you can work with this. Let's say you have your finished video and you want to actually render this, or you want to see it in your preview. What you can do is you can mark this part where you did the AI stuff and just render out this part. So if you use here these in and out points, so it's basically this one in and out, and then I render out this file, and then I load this file into my project. This is the pro tip, even with older machines, and then I can see it in my timeline, and I don't have to always render the entire video to see it. And if you have to change something, you come back to that and make your settings, render it again, and then this is a way how you can even work on an iPad that is a bit slower. The next two AIs we already talked about. One is AI SlateFinder, so that you can find slates in your footage, and the other one is the SlateID to read states and populate clip media. So it can also read a slate and put all of the data into your clip attributes. So the next one is an AI ultra sharpener for high fidelity sharpening of moving images. So if you record something where it's lots of moving race cars and everything, this is interesting for you. And how you can apply this, I mean, I don't have a race car right now, but I will just show you with this clip. I don't have any effect applied now. I come back here to the color page, add a new node. And if you type here in ultra, you will find the ultra sharpener. I can drag and drop this here to this node, and it's very simple. It's just one slider. If you put everything here to 0, no sharpening is happening. We can again hit Shift and F to see here more. So this is the image right now, not sharpened at all. And if I, for example, sharpen this like crazy, you will see, if I zoom in here, every pixel is like, this is way too much, but this is what you basically can do. You can sharpen the images even if they're moving just with that one effect. And if we come to the cut page and we look for the effects here, you find the ultra sharpener also here in the effects tab. So you can either use it directly here in the cut page or the edit page, or you can do it as I showed you here in this video in the color page. And the last feature here by AI is improved AI ultra noise reduction, NR. Quality for UHD is ultra HDR and higher timelines. To add this one, you come here to the color page, and here where the first icon where you see the little arrow here, you have to right click, longer press on your Apple Pencil, and then you find here motion effects. When you come to motion effects, you find a couple of different effects that you can use. We have here the spatial NR, and the mode is at the moment faster. But if we look here at faster, we have something that was introduced last year. This is the ultra noise reduction. This is now AI ultra noise reduction. That is what it's talking about. So I guess it kind of uses some of the AI's features that probably the other ones here had too. So it got an improvement here as well. So improved AI ultra noise reduction quality for higher resolution frame rate timelines. Let's come to the cut page changes. Now we have something, this is a massive change. We have keyframes and curve support for 4-point bezier retimes. This is for speed ramping. Then also editing multiple selected clips. This is when you stack them vertically. I will show you that. This is amazing. And fusion effects that we can change now in the keyframe editor. Wow. Okay, what does that mean? I already prepared something here for you. This is a very short clip where I did some speed ramping. I'm just zooming into my camera, like first my microphone, then my iPad, and I did a lot of keyframes. So what I did here is, so if I pop this out, I see all of these different keyframes here. And before we start with this, first, if you don't know that, how can you do speed ramps? I do it on purpose in the edit page because the keyframe editor is bigger here. I show you what I mean. If I come to the cut page and you just have a smaller iPad like me, the only way you can do keyframes is here with this icon here on the top, right? You're usually somewhere here in the media pool. And then if you come to the keyframes editor, you select your clips, and then you normally start here with the parameters. Then you could come to curve, and then you see this. You can make the screen a bit bigger by hiding the parameters here. And if you only want to see the speed ramps, click here on the 3 dots. And instead of display all parameters, you can say here, display parameters with keyframes. And I only added keyframes here for speed points. So now I see this. I can close this so I have it a bit bigger. But still, I find this on my iPad way too small to really work with this. So that's why I do my keyframes on the iPad with the edit page. Because on the edit page, on top of this menu here, we also have this button, so we can bring this keyframe editor out, and also you can now change the size of the keyframe editor. If you come here to the, sometimes with the pencil it's easier. Now you can change the size here with that one, make it bigger, and then for example bring it down. Because the cool thing in this window, we see the keyframes and we see the parameters here on the bottom. So you can scroll down, and if you don't need the parameters anymore, you can just bring this here down, or use a second screen for previewing your stuff and then just using this whole window here to do speed ramps and everything. Before we open this now, I will show you what I did with this clip. I opened the retime controls. So you right click, longer press with your Apple Pencil on that clip, and then you come here to retime controls, or you can use Command R. Then you see this window here. And the way this works, you can add here speed points. I will show you this here in the end. This is the normal clip with the normal speed because I shot in a slow motion. That's why everything is slow. I bring my playhead to a position. Let's say, for example, from here, I want to have it normal, and let's say until here. Now I can say here with the arrow, click on this one, and I can say here, add speed point. Now I see that this area has 100%. That means it's the normal speed when I preview this part. I can now go to this end and just bring this one in, and now you see already that the speed is changing. So now I have 190%. So this one is almost double as fast now for that part. And the more I bring it in, the faster will this part B. The only thing is, this is now not an ease in or ease out, it's just a hard speed ramp. But the cool thing is, you can already do speed ramps just with this. This was already possible in the past. You didn't even have to go to the keyframe editor. And if you want to make a lot of speed ramps, like very hard cut speed ramps, that is possible just with this feature. If you select the bottom one, you can change the position where it ends and begins. So instead of changing the speed, I can say, actually, I want that the speed part is a bit longer until this part here. So now we come to the keyframes editor, because the keyframes editor shows us all of these points. This is the point we just added. I can now select this one, just that point, and I have these options here on the top. I can use different ways how to manipulate and the speed ramp. Is it just a hard speed ramp, or do I want to have an ease in or an ease out, or both, ease in and out? This is basically these ones here, ease in, both, or ease out. So I can select this point and, for example, click this one, then I have ease in and ease out, and I get these two handles here, one side and right side. And that is already massive, because that was not possible before. We couldn't use all of this. It wasn't as easy, let's say, that one, and especially that I can now simply just grab one of these handles on one side. You had to use a shortcut before to do that. Now the handles are bigger. Oh, by the way, if you don't see the handles, you can come here to the three dots and just make sure that you here show handles, then you see the handles. And all of the points who have handles, you then see the handles. So for example, that one doesn't have one, so I can make in point, out point, and manipulate these ones. This is massive. And not just that. What they also added, if we now look at what I created, so let's bring this one down. I created now different ways of going forward, going backward, going forward speed, going backward, all in one clip without cuts, all with these keyframes. Wow. How is this possible? I show you. We come out here with this one. The way I did this now is when we have, let's come back here. So this part that you see here with yellow. The way I did this, I added all of my speed ramps here, the points, without any ease in, ease out. I first said this, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. And then on that part, I let everything go in reverse. How do you do that? Let's come here to the end where we already did some points. So I could bring in my playhead on this position and then come here to this arrow. And instead of adding a speed point, I can also say here, rewind, and for example, say 100% backwards. So now from that point on, it will actually now move backwards. It goes the opposite way. And in that part, I can even use my speed ramps, positions, make this faster, add speed points, all of this. And when I now even come to the keyframes and add this ease in and ease out, I can manipulate all of this to make this amazing look of moving forward, backward, forward. And not just that, I can even add freeze frames into this. So if I come back here to this one, for example, here on that position, and I add freeze frame, then I can even add a freeze frame where the frame is just stopping. So what does this mean? I will make a separate video about advanced speed ramping in the future, because now everything is possible even here on the iPad with the keyframes editor. And as you see here, I didn't have to chop up my clips, do different things. I can do it all in one clip, all with the curves manipulation here. This is the most important, that you have to know that this is now all possible inside for speed ramping, even here on the iPad. And one more thing, if you are on the edit page, yes, we have the keyframes editor also here in the timeline, but I barely use it, and this is one main problem still exists. So for example, if I open this one up, it works exactly the same like this one. On the desktop, many people prefer to work here because you are at the same scaling zoom like on the timeline. So if I move this playhead, you see it's also moving here. But the thing is that I noticed if I come here to the handles, I cannot change the handles. This is the most important. I can add points and handles. So if I click this point here and I change here the points, I can do it, but I cannot change the handles. So for that, I still have to come back into that one. So maybe they will fix that in the future. So that's why I don't use it on the iPad. While on the desktop, this feature works in the timeline. I work most of the time just in the timeline because I also have a bigger screen. But on a smaller iPad, my workflow is to pop this one out and have a bigger keyframes editor here, put it somewhere like this so I see a bit of my video, and then I can just go through the timeline here, hit start and play, do all of my points. That works in here. So the next one is here, editing multiple selected clips. This is amazing. I have to show you what this actually does. So let's bring all of this back. We actually delete this clip. Let's bring this clip in again. So this time we just use a couple of keyframes for the zoom value. So I come here in the inspector, transform. We start with this one, and then we bring this in, we zoom in, and then on that position, we zoom all the way here out. If you look here at the keyframes editor, I selected this clip. I see here now, let's close this. I see here my 3 points that I just created. I can duplicate this or have another clip here on top. If I select both of these clips, I see all of these keyframes. So if I pop this out, and I can also manipulate all of them. So I can mark all of these points, add an ease in and ease out at the same time, can even grab all of these, change them, manipulate them. If I select even here, when I see this top one and I select even the handles here, so I have the marking here on the handles, now I can even select both of these handles and manipulate both of these handles at the same time. This is amazing. When you stack different layers of different tracks, you can work now with speed ramps, with different keyframes, all at the same time, visible here in that one, and even the ease in and ease out if you select them. All of this possible. I can move everything around if I want to. This just opens so many possibilities. I've never seen any program like this. This is amazing what you can do with this. And it works all here on the iPad as well. Editing multiple selected clips and then fusion effects. What is this? There's so much in this one line. So let's delete this again. Let's delete this. I show you what this with the fusion effect is. There are some fusion titles generators that we have here already accessed from the effects in the cut page and in the edit page. For example, this comic title. This is a fusion title because it uses a lot of the power of the fusion page. And in the past, everything that you created with fusion, when you wanted to do keyframes, you also had to use the keyframe editor in the fusion page. You couldn't use the new parameter, the new keyframe editor here. They started to change that now. So if I come into this clip and come here to this keyframe editor, let's come back here to the parameters, click on this one and say all parameters so that we see all parameters. It starts to transform and everything that we already know. But if we zoom down, now here it starts comic titles, apply mask, multiply, fit mask, channel, low. All of these are the fusion parameters. And now you can start making keyframes even with all of these parameters and use the keyframe editor. This is amazing. Not for everything that you do in the fusion page it works yet. I think this will still be a transition in the future, but this is the right step that at one point in the future we will just have this one keyframe editor for everything that DaVinci Resolve can do. I can see the future now, even with all of these fusion titles, generators and effects, that works as well. Then the next line is keyframe ease options, loop, ping pong, reverse, and stretch. We even got more for the keyframes. For that, I show you this again. We bring in the other clip again. We start again with just a simple zoom. Start with this one, then I go to that position, I zoom in a bit, go to the next position, I zoom in a bit, go to the next position, I zoom in a bit. Now we check out the keyframe editor, pop this one here out. Again, just show display parameters with keyframes. I don't want to get overwhelmed. We pop this out and now we have here these 4 points. I can just simply mark them and now we have 2 more options here. These are the so-called step in and step out. What it does, if I select step in, the keyframes will stay at the same value until it reaches the next one and then it immediately, boom, jumps to the next one, like a step. This is the step in. And I can do the same, the opposite. I can mark all of them and say, no, I want to step out, which means it immediately steps to the next one, keeps that value, steps to the next one. So you can have 2 different types of letters that you can create, like a staircase. It doesn't work though with the retime curves. I tried that with the retime curves. It doesn't work with the retime curves, but also it wouldn't make sense with the retime curves. But you can now create that as well. Then we have loop and ping pong. What is this? So if we, for example, have these keyframes here and we just do the regular ones, actually I will delete that one. Let's do something like this. We have these keyframes. I change my keyframes now here so that they look better. Actually, let's do ease in and out here as well. Let's say we have this curve that I just created. I'm zooming in and then I'm zooming out, very smooth. And now my clip continues. What if you want to do exactly the same that we just created, but you want to just loop it multiple times throughout this clip as long as this clip goes? That is what we can do now. We select everything here and now we come here to the 3 dots and you have this loop type option and there are 3 different types of loops. We can create a loop, a ping pong and a relative. Loop copies exactly what you had before. So if we look at the curve here and we preview it, we come out, jump back to the first position because the first position was this, and then we repeat exactly what we created. So to make this nice, you have to of course make sure that, so I can for example come here to this point and maybe place that point here on that position. So now I have a loop that also is smooth for the end and the beginning. And now it just repeats and repeats and repeats. And I didn't have to create all of these keyframes. I can change the beginning one and it just keeps it. This is amazing. You think about what you can do with all of this. And then the next one, let's create this one again where the normal loop will just look a bit awkward. I can now do the following. I can select all of these 3 clips, come back here to the 3 dots, and then here by loop type, I can say ping pong. Ping pong smooths everything out, even if you don't have an end and a beginning that loops. So with the ping pong, you can have something like this. Then I go out, go back in, go back out, and it creates this kind of ping pong ding, 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 ding animation. And still you can, like with the loop, manipulate these points afterwards, and it will create multiple effects as long as your clip is. Not just that, we can also do the following. This is the third one. I mark everything again, select this one, loop type, I can say relative. Now relative, let's bring this in maybe not as hard so that you see it just a little bit, because the tendency is going downwards. This is exactly what it will create. We are slowly going downwards, which is actually a very cool effect to bring your transition out. Your video goes more out and out and out, ping pong to the distance. Then we have also reverse. So what is reverse? We can very easily, so let's select all of these points again. If we don't want to have any loop type, we can say here non-loop. I selected all 3, come to the 3 dots, and here I can say reverse keyframes. That will just change them around. So reverse, now the last one is the first one, the middle one is the middle one. It reverses all of the keyframes with just one button. And then the next one is called stretch. Stretch is an interesting feature. So if I have my keyframes like this, the second icon is now a new icon where I can have a stretch box. I can mark everything that I want to mark in my box. Now all of these are selected, and now I can simply grab one of these handles from that box and change the box to whatever I want. And accordingly, all of my keyframes, they will always still stay inside of the box, and I can change it. And not just that, if you hold an option on one of these ends, you can even just change one point of the box to make it to whatever shape you want, and still all of the keyframes will be inside. That's a stretching feature. Imagine what you can do with all of this. This is just crazy. And you can do it all even here on the iPad. Let's come to the next one, subframe support for keyframing and markers. I had to actually come into the documentation for the newest update. There's a whole document with 150 pages, and I come here to subframe support for audio keyframing and markers. So what does this actually mean? I prepared something for you. First of all, a subframe is, like the name already suggests, normally our timeline has frames. My timeline, I usually work in 24 frames. That means if I, for example, use here my arrow keys on my timeline, I go frame by frame. And because it's 24 frames in 1 second, that means each frame is roughly 41 whatever milliseconds, blah, blah, blah. And the thing is, sometimes with audio, this is not enough time or space to actually align audio or do some audio adjustments. So subframes were already in DaVinci Resolve. You could use audio and edit audio on a subframe level. And if you want to even go deeper to what you normally have in audio production, this is when you actually also open the Fairlight page, because in the Fairlight page, when you zoom in the Fairlight page, you even get more quality that you can work with, because it's using the audio as in any other audio program. That's simplified. I don't remember the numbers. But what you need to know is subframes is smaller than just a frame. So if I come here back to the edit page, and if I want to align something and use my arrow keys here, left and right, this is my jumping from frames to frames. So first of all, how can you even use subframes? Because there could be a setting that prevents that you can use subframes. So for that, you have to come up here, DaVinci Resolve, Preferences, and then under User and Editing, you scroll all the way down until you here under General Settings see this list within different check marks, and you have to make sure that this one is off. Align audio edits to frame boundaries. If this one is checked, then you cannot use subframes. It will always edit everything to the frames, which in my case would be the 24 frames timeline. By default, this should be off, so you should be fine. It's always a good thing to double check this one. And what they now added, if we look here, subframe support for audio keyframings and markers. So instead of just moving my clip on a subframe level, now I can even add keyframes here and move these keyframes on a subframe level. Sounds complicated. Here I show you what I mean. Here I added 3 keyframes, right? This one, and this one. It's just the volume of my clip. So I added these 3 keyframes. So if I want to change them now, I can open here the keyframes editor, this one. Then I see the keyframes here in the timeline, and I can move this keyframe. And if I look now and I go left and right with my frame, this is my frame, one to the next. But I can change the position of that keyframe even in between. That's the subframes. And we have it also for the markers. Markers are these ones, the blue one here. I will add them new, and also the timeline markers. Markers are this one here on the top. So if I, for example, come to any position and I haven't selected my clip, then I create a timeline marker. If I select a clip, I create a clip marker. There is a video here on my channel somewhere where I talk about all of the different ways how you can use markers. And what they now changed is I can now come into this marker here on my timeline. You have to make sure that snapping is off. Now I can move this freely like on a subframe level, the same with the timeline one. So I can move this, I can move the keyframes. That's basically what it means, that I can now use all of these keyframes, move them on a subframe level. Oh, and to add a keyframe, if you have a keyboard and mouse, so if I already added here keyframes to my clip here and I want to add another one, I can also just hit Option key down, select this one here, and now I created a new keyframe here. So there's one thing I noticed in between this iPad and my desktop version. On desktop, if I click a keyframe here, I can freely move it around. While here on my iPad, maybe there's a setting that I couldn't find. Let me know in the comments if you find it, but I can go up and down for the volume. But if I actually want to change the position to the right or to the left, I have to open the keyframes editor. So either the one here on the top, or if you want to make accurate changes, this is where the timeline keyframe editor comes handy. So I activate this one and I'm here not at curves, I'm here at parameters, and then I see the keyframe. This is the new keyframe that I just added, so I can select this one and just move it here to the left or to the right. And if I want to change the volume of that one, I can just select that one, up, down. So with DaVinci Resolve 21, we also get now native support for OGraf HTML graphics and Lottie animations. I had to first look this up because I don't really use these animations. I wanted to see if it actually works on the iPad. I had a hard time even downloading a Lottie animation. So if you have a Lottie animation, please test this out. On the desktop, I think it works. I was able to install a OGraf HTML. It's like a JSON file. And if I bring this in here to DaVinci, it will look like this with the icon, and I can add it here to the screen. This was actually a file I found in the Blackmagic forum. This was a test file. It worked here on my desktop. If I bring in the same file in my iPad, it stays empty. So I tried different things. I'm on the edit page, and here in the edit page, if I right click, I can import from media, import media from file. I tried these two. So if I go to import media, here is the same file that worked here on my desktop. And if I say here open, nothing happens. Let me know if this is the same for the Lottie file, or if you find another way how you can add this. It wasn't working on my iPad. Let's see in the future if they add it, or if I'm just doing something wrong, then please let me know in the comments below. We got another Resolve FX picture-in-picture effect. It's actually very straightforward and simple. If I have two video clips here, one on video layer 1 and one on video layer 2, I can come here to Resolve FX, search for picture-in-picture, and simply drag and drop the picture-in-picture effect here on the top one. And now you see that the top one is here in the picture-in-picture and the other one on the below is visible. Okay, let's come to the next couple of features, which are all related to text and font. The first one is a font browser and a font preview preference for text and subtitled elements. I already placed a normal text and a text plus here into my timeline. And if I come here to the normal text and open the inspector and I scroll down here where I see the font family. The same in the past, you could always come in here and you see now some preview here at the side, but you can also open now the new font preview manager. It opens very big on my iPad, but you can make this a bit smaller. And in this preview, you can also change this one here to thumbnail view or the list view. To see more, you can change the size to make it smaller or bigger. It doesn't use with the finger here. I have to actually come here to the side to that one here to scroll up and down. This would be maybe one feature that would be missing in the iPad right now. But if you have a magic trackpad or something, you can just go up and down or use your mouse wheel, or with the Apple Pencil, just use the handle here on the bottom. And you can go and see immediately how the fonts will look like. If you want to use a font, you just come to the font, select this, double click, and you have the font applied. The same works for the text plus as well. If we come in here, the text plus is just a bit weird. It's here on the left, but still next to the font. We open this one, again, opens this new font browser where you can browse in. You can also search and everything. You can even change this from white to the grayish. You can have some sorting settings, and you can also show here display default text or display user custom text. The next one is a spell checking for all text element. This is something that was totally missing in DaVinci Resolve. For example, here I made a text and I wrote test wrong. Now I see the red underline and also sentence underline. If I have a mouse, simply right click, then did you mean? It will give me a couple of options what he found. Maybe here the sentence, did you mean? Not really. Sentence. Let's see, this one probably still wrong. did you mean sentence? And I can change it. And it's not just English. So what we can do is we can come up here to DaVinci Resolve, Preferences. You can activate preference only if you're out of a text box. So you have to click somewhere. And now let's come back up. Preferences. Under User, you will find here Language and Spelling. And then there is an input language, Auto. You can also change that to German, French, Portuguese. All of these languages are supported as well. And you have here the spell checking. You can even add ignored words so it doesn't show you these markings, same like in any text editing program. And then you maybe already noticed, what the fuck? I have icons now and the icons are previewing. What is happening? The next one is this, emojis and color fonts for text plus and multi-text. And I also found out, so this is text plus, it works. And if I copy the exact same sentence over here to my normal text, the smileys work here as well. So it's not just text plus and multi-text, it also works on a regular text that you can add. So now you can actually use smileys, which is very handy if you have an iPad, because you can just grab the iPad, right, without the keyboard and navigate here to your keyboard with all the smileys. And you can now use smileys in DaVinci Resolve, especially on the iPad. That's way faster than I think on a Mac or on a desktop, especially on a Windows. Next one is mono audio now plays on left and right channels of stereo tracks. This is an amazing simple fix, but when I, for example, had my iPhone footage and I brought it in, sometimes it is only a mono track. And if you put a mono track in the past into a stereo track, so basically here in DaVinci Resolve, if you look at these tracks that we have here with the two, that is a stereo track. I can right click on this one and then, for example, here change track type to mono or stereo. And now, even if you have a stereo track and you bring in a mono track, it will play the mono track on both channels, so you don't have to even change it. It will just stay the same. Because DaVinci Resolve on the iPad is like the update notes are always just for the officially launched pages. That's why we have here cut page. And if you look a bit closer, you don't have the edit page. I just want to show you one thing that I really, really like that is part of the update of DaVinci Resolve 21 that we also got now here on the iPad when you actually work on the edit page. This is this one. Improved waveforms, markers, and fades displayed to shorter edit timelines and tracks. So basically what it means is, if you now come in here and I bring in my clips again. In the past, if you set your settings here with video and audio to the smallest to save space, which makes sense on an iPad, especially if you have the 11-inch iPad, then you were not able to see all of the waveforms. Sorry, I didn't talk much here, but basically you have to think about here were waveforms. And now one of the live improvements is that we can bring all the things down to the smallest that is possible, and you will still see a smaller waveform. This is amazing. This was not possible before. And another thing, when you are working in, remove these ones here. One way to fade in and fade out, come to the end of a clip. If you select it, you will see here these white lines, white dots here on this point and on this point. And if I want to do a very fast fade to black, fade in or fade out, I can just use these handles. This was already there, so I can just grab this one. And now if I look at the end of this video, it will slowly fade to black. And the same for the beginning, I can grab this, works really well with the Apple Pencil. And then I have from black going in. This is how I do them very fast. With one of these new updates, I can now even be in the smallest setting and I still see these white dots. They were missing before. Now I have them even in here as well. And one more thing is you can also turn off clip names if you want and if you don't want to see clip names. So for example, I have a clip name now. I can click on this one here and then say here, for example, display clip names. I can take this off, then I don't see any clip names anymore. Then the next one is DRT timeline import supports link and comfort option. DRT is DaVinci's own timeline project file. If you import a timeline, you will get this new window here on which shows you the resolution and everything and two more checkboxes. So you can automatically set the project settings to the settings that you're importing so that your project settings get overwritten and automatically link all of my existing media. So normally when you imported a timeline, that was all of the media from that timeline was somewhere else. You had to manually go and find the folders and then relink everything. You don't have to relink anything anymore. It goes automatically if you use here this import timeline feature. Next feature we got is compare timelines with timeline backup snapshots. This is a new feature. If we look at here the documentation, compare timeline with timeline backups, we got this feature on the desktop. And yes, it also works on the iPad. You can basically look at two timelines at the same time. And here's what I found out. It definitely works on the iPad, but I had to do a little of a workaround. The first thing you have to make sure that this feature actually works is you have to come to the settings here under preference. And in the preference settings under user and project save and load, you have to make sure sure that you activate timeline backups. And here on the timeline backups, you can tell him how many backups you want. So for example, here in my settings, it's now every 10 minutes, it creates a backup. Then every 1 hour, he creates another backup. So he basically does every 10 minutes a backup. So that's 6 backups. He keeps every hour for 2 hours a backup. So the last one after the 6 he keeps, and a daily backup every 2 days. So that means he always tries to keep 6 backups from the last hour, then 2 backups from the last 2 hours, and 2 backups from the last 2 days. That's basically what it means. But what you have to do is here backup location. I had to actually rechange it because I probably used it in the past when I made a video about this, and I selected my external SSD, but my external SSD is not connected anymore, so I had problems. So I just went here to the downloads, selected the download so that the backup is safe. Then number 2, what you can do is, I have here my timeline. You can right click here on my timeline. And by the way, this feature only works on the edit page. This feature does not work on the cut page. So you have to be in the edit page. And then here in the edit page, you can see here, create timeline backup, restore timeline backup. So if you have timeline backups, you will see these backups here. And then here, there's this new feature. If there is a timeline backup, you will see this one here, compare with timeline backup. If you don't have a timeline backup, you can also create manually one. So here by create timeline backup. But again, you have to first set the location, the thing that we just did. And then if you click here, timeline backup, I can set as another backup. And now I can come in here, right click, compare with timeline backup. And now I have this window here open. I can number 1 see here the differences in indexes. So for example, because I just made a new timeline backup, I can change the sizing here. Nothing really changed because it's the exact same timeline backup as before, but I can compare it with my backup before. And I added these clips here in the new clip, and this is the backup. So this is timeline 1, this is timeline backup 1, which I had before. And now I can see, these are the changes. The window itself is a bit limited. I cannot change it in size. If you have an external monitor, you can move it to an external monitor. It keeps the same size. I tested that on the desktop. It's exactly the same behavior. They will probably change that in the future, but you can change the timeline preview here, and you can have here an index list for the things that change. So I can double click on this one, and it should technically show me here these things. Let me see. Yes. So if you select this one, you will see it selects these white lines where it sees a difference in those timelines. And you can also say sync playhead. So what it means is if I turn this one off, both timelines have a playhead. So I can go through this one here, or I can also go through this one here, but I can also do the following. I can say sync playheads, then both playheads are sitting at the same time and going together. That's basically it. This is a very simple way. Most of the times I didn't even use backups. If you want to use backups, now you know there is backup. The backup feature was already there in the past, but now you can even compare backups. And I actually found out one cool thing. It's not just that I can compare the backups. If I have here another timeline in, I can even say here, compare with current timeline. I can even compare two totally different timelines against each other, which is kind of interesting, which obviously makes no sense because the timelines are different, but I can do that. I can compare 2 different timelines that I created myself. So that way, if you created your own backups, not with the backup system, you can compare them here as well. The next feature, IntelliScript now supports also final draft documents, not just the plain text. That is a final draft file, FDX. Here on my channel I already have a video about the IntelliScript and how you can use it. And now instead of just using text files, you can use also the FDX file. So transcription and subtitle timing improvements, that's the faster improvements. The same with up to 2 times faster AI speed warp for metal options, that's specifically for Mac. So the metal option is for MacBooks and also the iPad. Timeline menu action to select transitions. What we have now here is I have a timeline with a couple of transitions, and what I can finally do is I can come up here to timeline and say select all transitions. So now all of my transitions are selected at once. I can come here into the settings and change all of the inspector settings at once for all of these transitions. That wasn't possible before. You had to select them all one by one using the command key to hold them down, but now you can select all of them. Paste and remove attributes for clip color, markers, and flags. So basically, if you have a clip, let's say for example, this clip here I want to copy and I want to bring this to another clip, I can use Option V or right click and then just say here paste attributes. Then I always get this window. And what they now added is this one here, clip attributes, clip color, the flags and the markers are now here to select as well. And the last one here from the cut page, Resolve FX video collage with separate tile, fill and border controls. So this is an effect that was already inside. If you want to make a split screen with a couple of video clips, I have now here 4 video clips. How this works is I come to the effects tab and I search for video collage and then drag and drop this here to the top one, the first one. So and now I open the inspector, go to the effects, and I will see here video collage. And what I can do is now I can say that the top one is a tile. So we create a tile, and also we can, for example, say here the preview. We can say how many tiles we want to have. We can say, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you have here layout settings. You can change all of these different layout settings. You can make space in between or not. You can just change all of these if you want. And then if I'm happy with this, I can close the preview and can say here tiles. And so the first one is tile 1. So now I can simply just copy this one and paste attribute Option V to the second one. Yep, apply, go to the settings here. It's already set on tiles. Now this is tile number 2. I do the same with the next one. Option V, apply, come to the effects tab and say here tiles. This is tile number 3. And the same one with the last one. Option V, apply, come into the settings, and this one is tile number 4. So, and basically what they now changed is you have now separate file, tile, fill and border controls. So you can now change some of the borders and tile settings just for the tiles itself. This was added here as well. This is how you can make some split screen action in DaVinci Resolve. If you haven't known that, this feature was already there. Now the feature is even a bit stronger. Let's continue with the media pool. Here we have support for tabbed layouts. What that actually means is now in every media pool throughout all of DaVinci Resolve, you can have now the following. You see here on the top, I have videos. I have videos twice. I delete this now. 1 videos, 1 photos, 1 faces. What exactly is this? If I close all of this down, then I have the normal view that I normally have here inside, right? I can click on master. If you are in the edit page here on the iPad, you can open this navigation here as well. So you can actually navigate through different folders. But the thing is with DaVinci Resolve, you always had just one folder open. With tabs, you can now have multiple folders open. So for example, I can right click here on this one and then say here, open as new tab. Now I have the speed folder as separate. And then the other one here, for example, I can go to master and I can very fast switch between these two. And you can open as many of these as you want. I can now come here into the faces and then, for example, say here, open as new tab. That also works on the cut page. You have these tabs here also in the cut page. And if you want to create a new tab, for example, I can come to this folder here, right click, open as new tab. Then I have the JSON folder also as a new tab. And when you have a lot of tabs open, you can always click here on this arrow and then even search all of your tabs if you have very a lot. And then I can search, for example, here for my videos. And then I only see the videos tab and I go in. You can also right click here on a tab and you can say a new tab, previous tab, next tab. Basically previous and next tab is just navigating through it. I can close the tab and I can close all tabs at once. It still has one open. So as I said, it works in any media pool. So even here in the media page, if I come in here and right click, for example, on this one here, open as new tab, I can also have the tabs open here, open something differently. So these tabs are now working throughout all of DaVinci Resolve. Let's come to the next one. Thumbnail, list, and metadata views can be set for each bin. So what this means is if I come here to my cut page, let's close all of the tabs. So let's come here to the videos folder. I have a metadata view. So if there are clips with metadata, I see them here like this. Then I have the thumbnail view and I also have the list view. But if I change this here, this always applies to all of the folders. But I can do now the following. I can, for example, say, okay, in the videos folder, I always want to see the thumbnail. And I can right click here into an empty space. And then I can say, always open in thumbnail view. So this text will always be the last one that you open. So if I change this here to list, and if I do right click here into an empty area, always open in list view. Now the videos folder will always be in list. Then I can, for example, come here to my master, change this to views. Let's say the photos, for example, right click, always open in thumbnail view. So you see now this is also marked red. That shows me that there is a different setting just for this folder. So I can come back in here, go to videos. Videos will always be list. And if I come back to photos, photos will be thumbnail view. If you have the edit page open, it's even easier because you can even say here, right click on one of the folders here. And then you see here also always open in list view. I can open another folder here, speed, for example, always open in thumbnail view, like the audio here, for example. And I can say, okay, let's go here to list view. And I can say right click, always open in list view. Next one, star rating support for clips. This one, I had a bit of a hard time finding how out how to do it, because on the iPad, the problem is if we, for example, change this now here back to thumbnails, if I come to a clip and I open the inspector here on metadata, I couldn't see the stars, but the stars are there. The problem is on the iPad, I don't have the 3 dots like on my Mac to change it, but we have it in the media page. So if you come to the media page and you click any clip here in your media pool and you come up here where it says metadata, right? This icon here. Now I have the 3 dots here, and next to it is this icon here. And I can say, show me all groups. Now it shows me every metadata that it finds. And if I do all groups, I can also see here the star rating, and I click on this and I can give stars for that clip. Then for example, on this clip, I give 1 star, and you can always change that. Cut page supports now Smart Bin View. So what this is now, because the cut page is the official page, if you click now here on this one, so in the cut page, it doesn't open. It will always just be like this drop down menu. But now we have smart bins here, and you can even add new smart bins just straight from the cut page. So you don't have to go to the edit page anymore to open smart bins. If you don't see them here in the edit page, the smart bins, what you can do is come here to the 3 dots, and you see here show smart bins and also show power bins. That's the other one. Both of them work in the edit page, but we can now in the cut page also work with smart bins. If you don't know what smart bins are, I have a video here on my channel where I explain all the smart bins and also all the power bins. So definitely check it out, or get the DaVinci Resolve iPad Masterclass where I explain all of this and how you can use it in detail. Export media bin thumbnails as a PDF. So if I go to any bin with all of different thumbnails here inside, I can now actually export this as a PDF. But this doesn't work on the iPad. That's a feature that only works on my Mac. So here I have export as PDF. But the thing is, it should be here under the 3 dots, and then under here, it should be export as PDF. Doesn't really work, only works on the desktop. Maybe this will come in the future. The idea is that if you have a big folder with different thumbnails inside and you just want to have this as a PDF to very fast go through it, you can create a PDF on the desktop. Then we have automatic smart bin and clip filter for offline clips. Basically, you can come up here to the DaVinci Resolve preferences, and then here under user and editing, you will find a check mark. It's this one here, automatic smart bin for offline clips. When you activate this one and you have an offline clip, so let's say I have stuff on my SSD and I unplug my SSD or I move some of my clips, then you will have this nasty red marked media missing. And in the past, you always had to go to every folder. You have this icon here to relink your media, and then it depends now when we are here in this folder and there is missing media, I have to do it for this folder, then I have to come to another folder. But now, because of the smart bin thing, I have now a smart bin which will show me here offline clips. If I select this one, when there are clips found that are offline, they will all be in here, and then you can just hit the link thing here on that folder and it works. And then the last one is custom metadata for smart bins, filters, data burn, and naming tags. So basically, when you created custom fields, custom metadata fields, now you can use them even when you start making smart bins and filters and data burn and naming tags. Let's come to the changes for the color page. The very first one that I find here is MultiMaster trim pass to grade single timeline to many deliverables. So this is a new tool here in the color page, but the thing is I couldn't make it work on my M1 iPad Pro. So I would ask you in the comments, if you have a newer iPad Pro, maybe it works. You have to come up here to color and then actually scroll down here or use your finger, and it should come up here as a separate menu item, which is called MultiMaster, but it doesn't exist on my iPad. If I check the desktop version and I come here to color, you will find here MultiMaster Trim Manager. We can open this and this opens this entire new menu. Let me know in the comments if you have it with a newer iPad. I guess this feature didn't really made it to the iPad version right now. Maybe we'll get this in a future update. Second one, render magic mask in place as an external mate. So for that, I will open the documents because I have the same issue. Something that should happen doesn't happen on my iPad. So you see here, if I have a magic mask, I can create a matte node here. And the way you supposed to do it, so this one is the node with the magic mask. If you have the studio version, you can use magic mask. I have my subject selected, and how it's supposed to work is here on the 3 dots. You can click on this one and say render magic mask in place. So and if I click on this one here on my iPad, nothing happens. But if I do the exact same thing here on my MacBook Pro, then I get this new node here. So once again, let me know in the comments if you have a different iPad, if that maybe works on your machine. It didn't work on my machine. Could also be because I still have an M1 iPad Pro. Let me know, but I can't really use it. I tried to figure it out. I couldn't figure it out. So maybe we have to wait for a new update there as well. So then clip groups now support grade versions. So what that means is you can actually create groups. So for that, I will activate here things. I already created a group. You see that here by this symbol here. And basically, if I click on one thing and I see here group, I see already I called that group 1. And if I now come into group 1, I can also change versions, not just for single clips. I can make the versions even for the entire group. That's what they just added. And what are versions? Very simplified. I have a video here. Definitely watch that video. It's also on my YouTube channel, but very simplified. You can add different versions. In version 1, let's say you add whatever contrast and you do this test. And then in version 2, you try something different. And in version 3, you do something different. The versions let you create different grades and then easily come back without losing them and without doing weird copies. So version is just a tool for you that you can use it to add your own grades and experiment with them. View node graph as a layer list. That is actually one of the biggest changes that we now have. If I add here another node, we will close the timeline here because I don't have as much space. So I have my node graph here, and nodes work from left side to the right side. So this is the first node, then it feeds into this one, then it feeds into this one. But if we come up here to this icon here, I can now actually switch. I can go here to list view, and now I have a layer stack view. So the first one is the one here. It starts on the bottom, then the second one, the third one. I can turn them on and off. I can lock them like in any layer program. There will be more updates what they're writing in the future. There will be more features when it comes to the layer thing. I was surprised that we get this. Maybe it has something to do because of the photo page. Maybe it makes sense in combination with the photo page. Maybe that's the reason. But I found it very confusing that an app that has his own method with the nodes that people love now suddenly also get layer view. I will see in the future if this is an advantage or not. Maybe I just don't understand it. If you understand why this is very helpful, let me know in the comments. Next one, node stack now supports up to 8 layers. To activate node stacks, we had node stacks already before, but it was only possible with 4 node stacks. Now we can even create 8 node stacks. So first of all, you come here to the gear icon, you come to general options, and then you find here node stacks layers. By default, it's just one layer. And most people probably don't need node stacks. If you're just a beginner, you probably don't need that at all. But what you can do is here, I can create many node stacks. So in the past, it was 4. When I selected 4, I can even give them different names. And they act like layers. I will show you in a second. And now what they added is I can actually create 8 of them. So layer 1, L1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we say save. And how this works now here is if I come up here to this icon, when there is only one node stack active. So for just to show you how this actually looks, I will disable this again just to 1. So on this icon, you can see here the clip view. I can also change to timeline. What that means is whatever I apply now here will be affected to the entire timeline, not clip based anymore. Okay. And then what is here in between, we have the clips, but we can also make a grade just before the clips start, which is group pre-clip. So if I select this one, whatever comes before the clips, this is the color grading that I can choose here. And I have the same here, group post clip, something that applies to everything before you do any changes and something you apply to everything after the changes. So, and then there are certain scenarios. I never run into it with my YouTube channel and the videos I'm doing here. But if you're working with color, then what if you want to even create different layers in between those different clips and not just here with these before and be after? That's when the stack thing comes in. So if I come in here, node stack, and I select 8 of them, now I have 8 layers. I say save. And if we click on this one, now I can select here the different clips. I can go to clip 1, which is the one we already used. I can go to layer 2, layer 3, and so on, all the way up to layer 8. You just have to always keep in mind, if I, for example, here at layer 8, and I change my clips, I come to this clip here, I'm still working in layer 8. So this is the one thing, if you work with stacks, you have to always make sure that you work in the stack that you are now actually want to work for all of them, because that will not change. So if I want to keep working on layer 1 and see what is actually affecting here, then this is the effects. And if I want to add something on the next layer, I can now switch to layer 2 and add different color grades and color things here on layer 2. Film Look Creator has now an Aurora preset and a new roll off and a softness control. So if I come here to the last one, I already added the Film Look Creator. Oh no, I didn't. But if I add the Film Look Creator here to that node, if I hit Shift and F on the color page, I can see full screen. Why is it red? What did I do? I did something. If you had Shift and F with a keyboard, you can see full screen with your image here. And also I can see here the full settings, especially for the Film Look Creator on the iPad. That's actually very smart. And here under preset, I can now select Aurora as one of the new presets. And if we come here to Film Look settings, not that one here, color settings, I will have this new highlight roll off fader that I can use to manipulate. And if we go all the way down here to Film Gate and I activate Film Gate, I have here a softness slider that is now inside as well. These are the two new changes there. Then we have customizable HDR and nit scope ranges. What that is, if I come back here to the normal view, I have my parade here on the bottom. You see the different nits here on the left side. I can open now here the settings, and this one, scale display range. I can activate this and change here whatever I want to see for my values, even now as a setting in the scopes here. So Adobe RGB color space and gamma support. Because of the photo page, we also got now the Adobe RGB color space and the gamma support with DaVinci Resolve, and motion blur options for Metal. Metal is basically just a graphic options that the iPad and the Mac OS, so the MacBooks are using. We have this option now here as well. Let's come to the last two categories. The first one is the different codecs. So we have now Decode Apple ProRAW images. I don't have any ProRAW images. You can maybe test that in your iPad. I hope it's also working on the iPad. Then HDR decode and encoding support for HIAC, JPEG, PNG, and TIFF images. We also got now support for HIAC encoding support. We have support for Insta360 eye lock-in color management. Let me know if you have an Insta360, if it also works on the iPad or if it's only working on the desktop. Then we have to improve EXIF metadata support for stills. We have support for Sony Buraro V3 clips. If you have any of these, please let me know in the comment if that works. I can't test this. Pre-render drop options to override RCM and ACS outputs. Then we have the general improvements. A powerful, expanded, and flexible data burn-in window. So the data burn-in should be technically here under workspace and then data burn-in. If I check this here on my desktop, yeah, on my desktop, I have it data burn-in. But this is actually a feature that exists. So if I come here to the shortcuts menu and I look in for burn in, I see here under workspace, data burn in. I gave it a shortcut, and with this shortcut, I can open the window. So this window actually works, is an advanced window now that we can use, and it even works here on the iPad. Then we have preferences and project settings can now be searched. So if you come here to the general settings, you have now a search bar here where you can, for example, node stacks and search for the node stacks layers. Or if you come up to the here, DaVinci Resolve preferences, this one also has now a searchable field that you can search. Then for the multi-user project support, we have also now dynamic project setting. We also have support for importing and exporting Final Cut Pro 12 FSP XML data files. We have up to 3 times faster file sync performance to the Blackmagic Cloud and general performance and stabilization improvements. Wow. This was one of the biggest updates ever for DaVinci Resolve. There's even more stuff that came to the desktop version. If you are having a desktop, then definitely check out the document that they have on their website. This was all of the updates that we now got here with DaVinci Resolve on the iPad. If you want to learn more about DaVinci Resolve on the iPad, I created a beginner to pro course, a masterclass, where I teach you everything that you need to know about DaVinci Resolve on the iPad. So definitely check out the link here in the description. And yeah, just come into the community. We have an amazing community, amazing people. I cover so many things that other courses don't cover, as you could see even here with this update video. And yeah, that's it. If you found this helpful, hit like, subscribe. I'm Daniel. Here on this channel, it's all about filmmaking, nomad filmmaking, and DaVinci Resolve and Final Cut Pro. If you're into that, then dingle dingle the bang bang gong for notifications in the future. See you in the next video. Bye.